What if the limits you think you have were never real to begin with? What if everything that's ever held you back, the fear, the hesitation, the self-doubt, existed only in the chambers of your own mind? Most people never realize it, but the greatest prison humanity has ever built is invisible. It has no walls, no guards, and no bars, only thoughts. Thoughts that whisper, "You can't." Thoughts that repeat, "You're not ready." Thoughts that convince you that life is something that happens to you instead of something that responds to you. You see, the world doesn't shape your belief shapes your world. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every story of transformation begins with one moment when a person dares to question the belief that said, "I can't," because the mind is obedient. It listens carefully. It builds your reality according to what you tell it most often. Tell it you are weak, and it will create opportunities to confirm your weakness. Tell it you are powerful, and it will rearrange your perception to prove your strength. We've been taught to believe in effort, in struggle, in hard work, but we were never taught to believe in belief itself. Yet belief is the foundation of all creation. The rich man, the leader, the visionary, the inventor, they all began with one thing, an idea they refused to doubt. Napoleon Hill said it best, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But here's the hidden part. Most people miss the believe comes before the achieve. You cannot receive what your mind refuses to accept as possible. Every person listening right now has dreams they've buried under years of conditioning. From childhood, we were told what was realistic, what was sensible, what was too far out of reach. We accepted limits as if they were facts, not realizing they were just opinions passed down by others who gave up too soon. These beliefs became invisible handcuffs, comfortable, familiar, but suffocating. You can spend your entire life fighting circumstances, blaming luck, or waiting for opportunities, but nothing truly changes until you break the belief that created those circumstances in the first place. The moment you begin to question your limits, genuinely question them, a crack forms in the wall of your mental prison. Through that crack, light begins to enter. You start to see that the impossible is often just something you haven't believed in long enough. You realize that the same energy you use to doubt yourself can be redirected to create certainty. And once certainty replaces doubt, your actions begin to shift, your results begin to shift, and life itself begins to shift. This is the awakening, the moment you stop negotiating with your limitations and start commanding your mind to obey your vision. The mind is not your enemy. It's your servant, your instrument, your most powerful tool. But it can only create what you allow it to believe. Every limitation that has ever existed in your life can be dissolved the instant you see it for what it is, an illusion maintained by repetition. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, who would you be without your limits? What would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? The answer to that question is the real you, the version of yourself that's been waiting behind the walls of fear, waiting for permission to be free. And the truth is, you don't need permission. You only need awareness. Because the moment you understand this one truth, that your beliefs are not fixed, that they are choices, you realize that the power to delete them, to rewrite them, to rebuild yourself entirely has been within you all along. And that's where your transformation begins. From the moment we enter this world, we begin absorbing. We absorb sounds, emotions, words, and most importantly, beliefs. Like sponges, our young minds soak in every statement spoken around us, every reaction we witness, every limitation that the adults in our lives unconsciously pass down. Money doesn't grow on trees. Be realistic. People like us don't get opportunities like that. At first, these phrases seem harmless, ordinary pieces of conversation. But over time, they form the foundation of a mental framework that quietly defines what we believe is possible. A child who hears, "you can't" enough times will eventually stop trying. A dreamer who's told to be practical learns to trade imagination for survival. And a person who constantly sees others fail begins to fear success itself, because somewhere inside they start to believe it's dangerous to rise too high. These beliefs are not born from truth, they're born from repetition. They are the echoes of other people's fears, not the reflection of our potential. Yet because they are repeated with emotion and authority, our subconscious accepts them as law. Think about it. No one is born with doubt. No one enters the world believing they are unworthy. Watch a child learning to walk. They fall, they stumble, they cry, but they never give up. They don't question their ability. They simply know they will walk because they have not yet learned to doubt themselves. Doubt is taught, limitation is learned. We inherit it the way we inherit language or culture, unconsciously, automatically, without realizing that we are accepting someone else's version of reality. And this is the great tragedy of human potential, that most people never rise, not because they lack talent, but because they never challenge the beliefs that quietly whisper, "You can't." These beliefs become invisible programs running in the background of the mind. They guide decisions, shape reactions, and dictate how high we allow ourselves to climb. You can want success deeply, but if a deeper belief says, "I don't deserve it," you'll sabotage every opportunity that tries to find you. You can crave love, but if your inner story says, "I'm not enough," you'll push away anyone who tries to offer it. That's why people chase goals yet feel chained. They work tirelessly, set intentions, make plans, but something inside keeps pulling them back. It's like pressing the accelerator while the handbrake is still on. You're moving, but not freely. You're trying, but not fully believing. The outer effort cannot override the inner doubt. Your subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your behavior, will always create situations that align with what it believes to be true. If it believes you're unworthy of abundance, it will protect you from it. If it believes success leads to rejection, it will find ways to keep you safe by keeping you small. Napoleon Hill understood this conflict well. He wrote, "Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But notice he didn't say conceive and work hard for. He said believe, because belief is the silent architect of all results. Without belief, effort is scattered energy. With belief, even the smallest action becomes magnetic. The inner world always precedes the outer one. Many people think they need to work harder, get smarter, or wait for luck to change, but what they really need is to examine the silent assumptions driving their choices. What do you truly believe about money, success, love, or yourself? Do you believe it's hard to become wealthy? Do you believe good things don't last? Do you believe you're destined to struggle? These are not harmless thoughts, they are blueprints. They shape every decision, every interpretation, every opportunity you allow or reject. Here's the truth most never face. Your life is not limited by what you want, it's limited by what you believe you deserve. That is the real inner conflict, the battle between your conscious desires and your subconscious conditioning. One part of you says, "I want more," while the other part whispers, "It's not safe." You dream of abundance, but fear being judged. You crave success, but fear the responsibility. You want love, but fear rejection. And so, you stay trapped in the middle, reaching forward with one hand while holding yourself back with the other. But awareness changes everything. Once you see the pattern, it begins to lose its power. When you recognize that these beliefs were given to you, not chosen by you, you reclaim authority over them. They are not your truth. They are just programs you've been running for years. You can uninstall them the same way you learned them, through repetition and emotion. Every time you catch yourself thinking, "I can't," you have two choices: accept the belief or challenge it. Every time fear rises, you can feed it or face it. That's the beginning of liberation, when you stop accepting every thought as truth and start asking, "Who told me this, and is it really mine?" Because the voice of failure isn't your own, it's a collection of voices you've absorbed. And when you finally realize that, you begin to separate your authentic self from the noise of conditioning. The inner conflict is not a curse, it's a signal. It shows you exactly where your freedom lies. The louder the resistance, the closer you are to the belief that needs to be deleted. And when that belief dissolves, what remains is your true nature, limitless, powerful, and completely free. Because once you silence the false voice that says, "You can't," you finally hear the one that's been whispering all along, "Yes, you can." The subconscious mind does not argue, it obeys. It accepts whatever it is told repeatedly and emotionally, whether that information is true or false, empowering or destructive. This single principle, though simple, is the cornerstone of all transformation. You become what you repeatedly impress upon your subconscious. Every thought, every word, every image that carries emotion becomes a seed planted in the soil of your mind. And just like nature, the subconscious always brings forth fruit that matches the seed. This means that your current reality, your confidence, your income, your relationships, your peace is not an accident. It is the sum total of the beliefs that were planted and nourished within you. Some you chose consciously, but most were inherited, absorbed, or reinforced through experience. If those beliefs were empowering, you flourish. If they were limiting, you struggle. Yet the most liberating truth is this: the soil does not care what seed you plant. The subconscious will grow weeds or roses with equal loyalty. Its only law is repetition and emotion. Napoleon Hill understood this deeply. He often said, "Faith is the only known antidote for failure." And by faith, he didn't mean blind religious belief. He meant the psychological and spiritual certainty that whatever you desire is already yours in the unseen. Hill spent decades studying the world's most successful people, and every one of them, from Edison to Carnegie, operated on this same law. They built an inner image of success so vividly that the subconscious accepted it as reality long before it manifested in the physical world. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between imagination and experience. That is why athletes visualize success before they compete, why speakers rehearse in their minds before they perform, why successful people meditate on their goals as though they are already accomplished. They understand that imagination is not fantasy, it's creation. Every empire begins in the theater of the mind. Every limitation dissolves in that same theater when a new story is rehearsed often enough. To erase limiting beliefs, logic is not enough. You can read affirmations for hours, but if they lack emotional conviction, the subconscious ignores them. You can tell yourself, "I'm confident," but if you feel insecure, your feeling will win. Because emotion is the language of the subconscious, not logic. The 5-minute mind trick works because it speaks that language. It bypasses argument and plants a new emotional truth through repetition, visualization, and sensation. For example, if you've carried the belief, "I'm not good enough," trying to reason it away rarely helps. Your logical mind might say, "That's not true. I've achieved many things." Yet the emotional memory stored in your subconscious still holds pain, rejection, or failure. Instead, when you close your eyes, relax your body, and imagine vividly the version of yourself who is confident, capable, and successful, and you feel it deeply, you begin to overwrite the old emotional code. Each time you do this, the new image strengthens and the old one fades. This is mental discipline. It requires consistency, not complexity. Just 5 minutes a day of focused emotional visualization can begin to rewire years of conditioning. When repeated daily, it becomes a new pattern, a new vibration that your subconscious adopts as truth. Eventually, the results in your outer life begin to reflect the new inner program. Opportunities appear where there were none before. You attract people and situations that match your new self-image. The world responds to who you've become on the inside. The beauty of this principle lies in its neutrality. The subconscious doesn't judge. It doesn't ask whether your beliefs are good or bad, only whether they are consistent. That means you can't simply erase a belief by wishing it away. You must replace it. The old belief fades only when a stronger one takes its place. That's why repetition and emotion are so vital. Every time you feed your mind an empowering image with genuine feeling, you strengthen the roots of that belief until it becomes your default state. Napoleon Hill called this process autosuggestion, the conscious feeding of the subconscious mind with chosen thoughts until they become automatic. Hill knew that every habit, every fear, every success or failure begins as a suggestion that was accepted by the mind and repeated until it became self-sustaining. You cannot think in terms of weakness and live in strength. You cannot entertain thoughts of scarcity and live in abundance. The outer must always obey the inner. That is why the 5-minute mind trick is not magic, it's mastery. It's a deliberate act of reclaiming authorship over your thoughts. For those 5 minutes, you stop reacting to life and begin programming it. You become the sculptor of your subconscious, molding its material with intention, vision, and faith. Over time, the subconscious stops resisting and begins creating. What was once effort becomes nature. So understand this truth. Your subconscious is the silent partner in everything you do. It listens day and night, shaping your destiny according to the images you feed it. If you speak fear, it builds obstacles. If you speak faith, it builds pathways. If you imagine success, it draws opportunities like a magnet. The secret isn't to force reality, it's to align belief with desire until the two become one. This is the core principle that all change begins within, in the unseen realm of thought and feeling. Master that realm, and life itself becomes obedient. Because once your subconscious accepts a new truth, the universe has no choice but to make it visible. Transformation doesn't begin with effort, it begins with awareness. Before you can change your life, you must first realize that life is simply a mirror reflecting the thoughts you hold most often. Your outer world bends to the frequency of your inner dialogue. The 5-minute mind trick is not about forcing yourself to believe something. It's about teaching your subconscious a new emotional truth through repetition and feeling. Because when the inner pattern shifts, the outer pattern must follow. Each morning, before the noise of the world enters your mind, you have a sacred window, a few minutes where your subconscious is wide open, still soft from sleep, receptive to suggestion. This is the moment to reprogram your reality. Sit quietly, close your eyes, breathe deeply, let the surface chatter settle, and now begin to see yourself already living the life you desire. Don't say, one day I will be confident or one day I will be successful. Instead, declare within, I am confident, I am abundant, I am at peace, I am exactly where I am meant to be. As you visualize, make it vivid. Feel it with all your senses. If your goal is wealth, see yourself holding the results of your success, the home, the freedom, the calm. If it's confidence, feel your posture straighten, your voice steady, your mind clear. Add emotion to the image until it feels more real than your current situation. Because emotion is the key that unlocks the subconscious door. The mind does not respond to empty words, it responds to what you feel to be true. For 5 minutes, live entirely in this new version of yourself. Speak affirmations aloud or in silence, but speak them as fact, not hope. Everything I desire is already within reach. My potential is unlimited. I am guided and supported in all that I do. Let each statement carry conviction. Your voice is the command, and your subconscious is listening carefully, waiting to obey. This daily practice begins to create cracks in the walls of old belief. Each repetition weakens the structure of fear and self-doubt, and each emotional visualization plants stronger roots of confidence and power. In just a few days, you'll notice subtle shifts, moments where you normally would have hesitated, but instead you act. Situations that once triggered fear begin to awaken calm. It's not coincidence, it's recalibration. The subconscious is learning a new pattern, and it's rewriting your automatic responses. The transformation process is quiet, almost invisible at first. There's no lightning strike or sudden explosion. Change begins like dawn, soft, gradual, almost unnoticeable until one day the whole landscape is flooded with light. That's how belief works. The repetition builds energy, and eventually, the new belief reaches a tipping point where it becomes your dominant truth. From there, reality has no choice but to align. You may find that as you strengthen your new mental image, certain old thoughts will resist. That's natural. The mind clings to the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. But don't fight the resistance, observe it. Each time doubt arises, see it as an invitation to reaffirm your new truth. Smile at the old belief, thank it for its service, and gently replace it with a higher thought. That's how the old programming dissolves, not through war, but through replacement. Napoleon Hill often spoke of autosuggestion as a discipline. He knew that persistence in thought is as real as persistence in action. Every day you repeat your new belief, you carve a deeper groove in your mental pathways. Eventually, the new thought becomes natural, automatic, effortless, just as your old limiting beliefs once were. Transformation, then, is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you really are beneath the conditioning. You're not learning power, you're returning to it. You're not gaining confidence, you're uncovering the confidence that was buried under years of false stories. So make this 5-minute ritual your daily act of self-mastery. Do it with faith, not as a chore, but as communion with your higher self. Because when the mind hears the same empowered message again and again, it stops doubting and starts believing. And once your subconscious believes, your entire world reorganizes to prove it right. That is the transformation process, the steady, sacred practice of choosing new thoughts until your reality no longer remembers the old ones. Awareness alone is not enough. It must be lived. Once you understand how the mind works, once you recognize that your subconscious is the architect of your reality, the real work begins. The journey of transformation is not confined to 5 minutes of meditation each morning. Those minutes are the ignition, the moment you plant the seed, but the rest of your day is where that seed is tested, challenged, and strengthened. Every thought, every reaction, every decision is an opportunity to either reinforce your new belief or slip back into the old one. Carry this awareness into every action. When doubt whispers, "You can't," reply with certainty, "Watch me." When fear rises, pause, breathe, and visualize your success again. Bring your mind back to the image you built in your morning ritual. Let it serve as your compass throughout the day. The goal is not to never feel fear, it's to stop letting fear dictate your choices. Every time you respond with faith instead of doubt, you're rewiring the circuits of your mind, building new neural pathways that align with confidence and clarity. Start with something simple. Write down 3 limiting beliefs that still echo in your thoughts. Maybe it's, "I'm not smart enough," "I don't deserve abundance," or "good things never last." Be brutally honest with yourself. Bring those invisible chains into the light. Then for each one, write its opposite truth. Turn "I'm not smart enough" into "My mind is powerful and creative." Replace "I don't deserve abundance" with "I am worthy of success and ease." Instead of "good things never last," declare "good things are my natural state and they grow with time." Speak these replacements out loud every day until they feel natural, until your voice no longer trembles when you say them. This isn't about pretending, it's about retraining. You're teaching your subconscious to recognize a new pattern of thought. It's exactly like building a muscle. The first few repetitions might feel uncomfortable or fake, but with consistency, strength develops. Your thoughts gain tone, your confidence grows firmer, and soon the new beliefs begin to take root. 5 minutes of daily focus might seem small, but it's not the duration that matters. It's the intensity of emotion and the persistence of repetition. Consistency is the secret ingredient. One day of affirmation won't undo years of programming, but daily repetition begins to dissolve the old mental architecture. Think of it as replacing bricks in a wall. Every time you choose faith over fear, affirmation over self-criticism, gratitude over complaint, you are removing one brick of limitation and laying down one of power. Over time, your inner structure becomes stronger, more aligned, and unshakable. Surround yourself with voices that echo this truth. The environment you immerse in determines the ease or difficulty of your transformation. Read books that expand your mind. Listen to speakers who uplift and challenge you. Watch content that reinforces possibility instead of limitation. Be ruthless about your inputs. Your subconscious is always listening, whether you're aware of it or not. Every song, conversation, or piece of news carries energy that influences your emotional state. Choose what you feed your mind with the same care you choose what you feed your body. And remember, awareness without practice becomes theory. The world doesn't change just because you understand these principles. It changes when you live them. Apply them in your work, in your relationships, in moments of stress or decision. When someone doubts you, let that be a reminder to strengthen your belief in yourself. When challenges arise, see them not as signs of failure, but as opportunities to test and reinforce your inner conviction. The stronger your faith in your new beliefs, the faster your external reality begins to align. Napoleon Hill often emphasized the power of persistence. He said that faith is a state of mind that can be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind. That means faith is not something you wait for, it's something you build. Every time you choose to act as if your new belief is already true, you are building that faith. You are instructing your subconscious to adjust your reality accordingly. Over time, you'll notice a profound shift. Things that once intimidated you now feel manageable. Opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to appear. People respond differently to you not because they've changed, but because you have. You'll walk with more certainty, speak with more conviction, and carry an energy that naturally attracts success. That is the byproduct of mental discipline, a quiet confidence that doesn't need proof because it already knows the truth. The real-world application of this principle is not about perfection, it's about awareness and redirection. You will still have moments of doubt, but now you'll catch them. You'll still face challenges, but you'll meet them differently. Instead of shrinking, you'll expand. Instead of reacting, you'll respond. And each time you do, your new reality becomes more stable, more natural, more powerful. So remember this, your mind must be trained like a muscle. 5 minutes a day is the seed, but consistency is the growth. With time, patience, and faith, those small moments of discipline compound into transformation. And one day, you'll look back and realize the limits that once defined you no longer exist, not because the world changed, but because you did. Every belief is a choice, and the moment you choose differently, life rearranges itself to match. That is the quiet truth at the heart of all transformation. Your outer world is not fixed. It is fluid, flexible, and responsive to the commands of your inner world. Everything you experience, every victory, every setback, every coincidence is a reflection of your beliefs in action. When you understand this, you stop trying to control the world and start mastering the one thing that truly matters, your inner state. You are not limited by what you are are limited by what you believe you are. The boundaries you see around your life are not walls, they are mirrors, reflecting the assumptions you've accepted as truth. When you say, "That's just who I am," you are declaring a belief, not a fact. You are defining your reality through words and emotion, and the universe, ever faithful, responds accordingly. But the moment you dare to question those limits, to ask, "What if I could be more?" the mirror begins to shift. Every time you choose faith over fear, you alter the blueprint of your destiny. Every time you affirm your worth, you raise the frequency of your entire existence. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, attract differently. The energy you carry changes the energy that meets you. This is not mystical thinking. It is the natural law of vibration and correspondence. The inner and outer worlds are always in harmony. If you desire a greater life, the work begins by becoming a greater thinker. So, take 5 minutes today, just 5 sacred minutes to rewrite your story. Sit in silence. Close your eyes. See yourself living free of every old belief that ever told you no. Imagine your highest self calm, confident, radiant, and feel that image as truth. Speak it aloud. Let your words become commands. I am powerful. I am worthy. I am free. The subconscious does not question. It obeys. And when you feed it this new truth long enough, it will reshape your life to match. This is the final step, but it is also the beginning of a new chapter. Because transformation is not a single event, it is a daily decision. You must choose your belief each morning like you choose your clothes. You must protect it, nurture it, and live it until it becomes effortless. When you walk through the world with unshakable belief, the world mirrors that confidence back to you in the form of opportunities, peace, and alignment. Remember, nothing outside of you has the power to define you. The opinions of others, the circumstances of the past, the conditions of the present, they are only reflections of what once was. You are free to create what will be. You are the author, the director, the sculptor of your own mind. The power you seek has never been missing. It was simply waiting for you to believe in it again. So believe completely, deliberately, unapologetically, because the world is not fixed. It is listening. It is waiting for your command. And the moment you choose a higher belief, everything else begins to rise to meet it.